Hi everyone, this is Lara Hammock from the Marble Jar channel, and in today's video I'll walk you through my mental decision tree on whether it's worth engaging in healthy conflict in order to heal a relationship. So within the last 2 weeks I've had 3 relationship conflicts to deal with. It's uncomfortable and stressful even for someone like me who is more at home with conflict than most. I come from a family that believes that conflict generally ends well. Now, that doesn't always mean we fight fairly or are on our best behavior during conflicts, but we honor the role of conflict as essential to good relationships. I married into a family where conflict generally does not end well. My mother-in-law once told me that there were never any fights in her marriage. I think she believed that that was a sign of supreme relationship health, but I take the opposing view on that. So, my view is that our most important relationships are worth fighting for, and I mean that literally. We're all going to hurt each other. We do it frequently, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly. What's important is how you behave after you know you've hurt someone. But people can't fix things that they don't even know are broken. So unfortunately, conflict can be uncomfortable and stressful. It takes courage and energy even to engage. And each time you do, you risk damaging your relationship. So this is all true. What we don't also acknowledge is that not saying anything is the most frequent cause of relationship damage. In the end, relationship conflicts are about maintaining healthy boundaries, which I also happen to have a video on if you are interested. So here is my decision tree that helps me to determine whether I should spend the emotional energy on a conflict in a relationship or not. So let's start here at the beginning. A friend, a colleague, a family member says something, does something, or talks to you in a way that you don't like. They have crossed a boundary. Question number 1. Is this a durable relationship? Is it someone you see regularly, or is it an acquaintance or a complete stranger? If the answer is no, it's not a durable relationship, then ignore it, distance yourself, and move on. There is no need to expend any conflict energy on this one. If the answer is yes, go to question number 2. Is this an important relationship? No. Some people you see all the time, but your relationship to them isn't important to you, either because they don't have any influence over you or you just don't care enough about your relationship. If this is the case, there's really no need to expend the conflict energy. If the answer is yes, go to question number 3. Is it possible that conflict will help to heal the relationship? Okay, there are 2 types of people that I will never attempt to have a conflict with. The first type I call the conflict catastrophes. So these are people who are hell to have conflict with. They fight dirty, they never give an inch, they never apologize for anything, they are more hell-bent on winning or preserving their ability to be right than to hear your perspective or to save the relationship. The only way you'll know that a person is a conflict catastrophe is from having had a terrible experience with them in the past. Save your energy. It's just not worth it. Distance, ignore, move on. The second category is the never changers. So there's some overlap here with the last group, but having conflict assumes that some change may be required from perhaps both parties. If you're facing someone who will never change, then why even bother? Again, distance, ignore, or move on. If neither of these categories apply, then conflict may help the relationship. So let's go to question number 4. Have you already said this before? No? Then great, you are cleared for conflict. Yes? Then question number 5, how long ago was it that you said something? Not long. So this means you've said something about this issue very recently. Since we are having this conversation again, I'm guessing that they haven't made much attempt to change. Cut your losses, distance yourself, and move on. If it was pretty long ago, move to question number 6. How was their initial reaction? Pretty good. If you've said something, but it's been some time ago, you have to determine whether it's worth saying it again based on their initial reaction. Was their reaction initially positive and some changes were made, but we've slipped back into the old habit? If so, it may be worth saying again. Not great. If it didn't go well the first time or there was no attempt to change, then it is probably not worth it. Distance and move on. Okay, now we have 2 instances where it makes sense to engage in conflict to make the relationship better. So you can see the bones here of my decision making. The relationship has to be important enough to expend the energy on, and essentially I will say something once, maybe twice if enough time has passed, before I consider the relationship to be unsalvageable. So just a quick word about distancing. This does not mean that you have to drop your friend like a hot rock or to start a war with them. It just means that you need to make your relationship more superficial and take steps to offer less of yourself in terms of time, availability, and intimacy. So I am not big on feuds. They take way too much negative emotion, so I try to avoid them and just offer a little less of myself. This should not be punitive. So you are not punishing them for being a bad friend. Rather, you are deciding how that you are going to allocate your limited relationship energy. Without the ability to engage in some conflict, that relationship just isn't worth as much time and energy as others in your life. So, now that you figured out that you need to engage in conflict, what's the best way to go about it in order to preserve your relationship? And that is the topic of my next video. So let me know what you think. Comments are always appreciated, and thanks for watching.